Chef David Speight is Executive Chef at UBC Food Services. David has been cooking professionally for over 20 years. He completed culinary programs both locally at Vancouver Community College as well as Culinary Institute of America in New York. Prior to leading the team at UBC, David held the Executive Chef position at Rogers Arena, McQueen Seafood and Oyster Bar, and Bridges Restaurant in Granville Island. Chef Speight's current position is Executive Chef at the University of BC. He oversees Westcadia Catering, Sage Restaurant, the Point Bar and Grill, athletics and recreation, residence, commissary, and retail operations, including the mobile truck fleet. Please join me in welcoming Chef David Speight.
Hello, I am David Speight. I'm an Executive Chef and Culinary Director at UBC Food Services. My role on campus here is to create a vision and lead the direction of all things culinary for UBC Food Services. So with that, I oversee a team of over 150 culinarians, ranging from chefs to cooks to dishwashers. And with that team, we support all lines of business for culinary operations here at UBC. It is an amazingly large program that we run. So many different aspects, and it's so great to be here to be able to share some of those stories. So I am a professional chef by trade, and I've been in this industry for many, many years. And I believe that being an executive chef, that with decision making, I have opportunity, but also an obligation and responsibility to be an advocate for environment and social sustainability issues. Now I know that there are some chefs out there that disagree with that. They feel that our role is that of a chef and our leadership ends at the door of our kitchen, and I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I want to talk about a story from my early days of being a young executive chef at a large seafood restaurant in McQueen's back in the late 1990s. And what I did is I sold Chilean sea bass. I sold lots and lots and lots of Chilean sea bass. It's a wonderful product, tasted so good, people wanted it, and we sold it. I could bring in 40 pounds, I'd sell it. I could bring in 60, I could bring in 80. It doesn't matter how much I brought in, I would sell all of it, and I could basically sell it for whatever I wanted to sell it for. That's how bad people wanted Chilean sea bass. And it wasn't just me, it was restaurants all across Vancouver, it was restaurants all across North America. It was uber popular, and to this day, I mean, it's a wonderful thing. But I noticed things. I'd buy the fish and we'd sell it and we'd buy more. And the fish would come in and it'd be this big, and it was always this big. And then it slowly started getting smaller and smaller. And it never got bigger, and it got smaller. And then it got really quite meager and piddly in size. And so I started asking questions. And what I learned is a few things. I learned that there were no fishing regulations for Chilean sea bass. I also learned that the Chilean sea bass took 7 years to grow to full maturation, which is double the length of time most fish of that size take to grow. So the combination of a really popular fish without any regulations, it was completely overfished, and with a long time of the growing cycle, we basically depleted our supply of Chilean sea bass in a very, very quick matter of time. And for me, that was kind of my first aha moment. I was in my 20s at the time and didn't really understand the impacts that purchasing made on the food supply and the planet Earth. And so this was right around the time Oceanwise was beginning to form, and partly because of that. And it's so important to have programs like Oceanwise and Fair Trade to help not only guide purchasers of food, but also educate the general public. And so that was kind of the story I wanted to tell, because it was my first real experience of seeing the decisions that I made and how they could impact food systems. So I want to talk tonight about food systems and how that relates to UBC. So loosely defined, a food system includes all processes and infrastructure involved in feeding the population. So that's growing, harvesting, processing, packaging, transporting, marketing, consumption, and disposal of food and food-related items. More specifically, I believe a successful food system should exist as a circular system, and it should include 4 points: food production, food distribution, food access, and food waste management. For this system really to work, it needs to connect all these aspects together and close the loop in a circular system. The diversity of the system also really does require all types of thinkers and doers from different backgrounds, with different passions and skill sets to really have an impact on the food system. In my spare time, I am a member of the Vancouver Food Policy Council with Veronique, and the Vancouver Food Policy Council has 5 guiding principles that helps us shape the food system. I wanted to discuss those today with you, but also discuss them with an eye towards what we do here at UBC to improve our food system on campus. So the first point is community economic development. And so that states, because food systems need to be sustainable, and without economic success they can become ineffective, a good local food system should be able to strengthen our local economy, as well as our regional economies, and create employment and increase food security. So basically that tells you that sustainability is great, but if it isn't economically feasible, it's not going to be sustainable. So that's an important aspect that we sometimes forget. Here at UBC, we utilize strong local purchasing mandates. We set targets. Targets are very important, and they have to be measurable, because that way you can guide and gauge whether you're moving the needle or not. Our growing partnership with the UBC Farm is a great example of community economic development. As well, we pay our employees a living wage, great benefits here at UBC, as Colin referred to earlier. Those people now can live and work in the community and provide economic rollbacks back into the environment that they live in. So those are some examples. Ecological health is number 2. A whole systems approach to food should protect our natural resources, reduce food waste, and improve the health and well-being of our communities. Just love all that, especially tied it together. I think that's so important, and it's so it keeps me awake at night thinking about how we can keep moving these targets, and that's what really why I do what I do. It's I love food, but I love the aspect and the impact on sustainability that we as chefs can have. So one of the things here at UBC of late is our intensified focus on nutrition, health, and well-being for the students as well as the campus as a whole. So that's a good sign of that. We have a robust composting and recycling program in the back of those kitchens. We have, well before I got here and well before it was industry standards, I believe UBC was leaders on that. And a new focus for 2016 is going to be working on reducing food waste through the minimization of overproduction and looking at some food recovery and food donation programs. Number 3 is social justice. Food is a basic human right, and it needs to be. We need to foster a system that ensures all residents have access to affordable, nutritious foods, and especially children. So that for us here on campus may not sound like it fits in, but it does every day. Basically, when we decide what we're going to sell our food products for, we have to keep in mind the budgets that our students are on. So that is a prime example of social justice. Collaboration and participation is number 4. A thriving local food system needs to have civic engagement and can strengthen communities. Collaboration between local governments and community groups will improve food security for all. So that to me tells me that it can't simply be a top-down approach from government. It also can't just be a grassroots effort from communities. It needs to be a combination and collaboration of both to really have a great impact long-term. For that, here on UBC, we partner with Seeds projects, which are where UBC students tackle real business case studies and they provide results back to the key stakeholders. This is a great opportunity to provide work for students to study, but it also, for us as UBC Food Services, is an excellent opportunity for us to connect directly with students. So we participate in those programs and find great successes from that. And number 5, and lastly, but certainly the most important, I think, is celebration. Sharing food is a fundamental human experience, and the role food plays in bringing people together is really profound. This is a shared global experience. This doesn't mean just people in one aspect of the world. This is all over. People, families, communities, they come to eat, and it's proven time and time again that people that eat together have better long-term relationships, and the role that food plays in that is really important. So for us, we do a few annual events on campus, and we're always looking to do more, where we have, we really believe that if we can create an environment where students, staff, and faculty can all sit down and share a meal together, that's going to be a wonderful example of campus social sustainability, and quite frankly, is going to lead to long-term success for this university. So we do have a few of those events, and we're always looking to expand upon that. UBC is a leader in sustainability, but I do believe there's a couple of things that we still should be doing. There's many things, but a couple things that I have on my short priority list is creating some more valuable food assets. I think a student operating community kitchen on campus would be a wonderful asset to this community, a place where students can share meals, learn more about food, learn more about cooking, have access to clean and safe cooking facilities, be run by students. I think that's really important, and it doesn't exist currently, and we're going to work towards trying to create some of those. Also, I touched on briefly the food recovery program and saving unused food products within UBC Food Services, so that we divert it for the landfill as well as go to people that are in need of a good meal. So I mean, this is something that I was able to successfully start up at Rogers Arena, and really want to work hard to bring that mentality and that mindset here to UBC. I firmly believe that if we can have students playing a key role in this, it's going to be a much more beneficial and successful program. So that's something that, those are a couple things that we're looking at for short-term goals. Thank you for your time. I look forward to sitting with the panel and answering some questions. Thank you very much.